Looking at our world from a theological perspective. This is the Theology Central Podcast, making theology central.
Good evening, everyone. It is Wednesday, July the 14th, 2021. It is currently 5:44 p.m. Central Time, and I'm coming to you live from the sanctuary of Victory Baptist Church, located right here in Ovalo, Texas. Now, here's a question. Did anything that I just said, was anything just said, anything that you just heard, was anything that you just heard, was any of it true? Anything that I just said, all of the words that you just heard me speak, were any of them actually true? Let me try it again. Good evening, everyone. It is Wednesday, July the 14th, 2021. It is currently 5:45 p.m. Central Time, and I'm coming to you live from the sanctuary of Victory Baptist Church, located right here in Ovalo, Texas. Is any of that true? Is it? Now you say, well, I think it's true. If you're listening to me live, you're going to like, well, I know it's Wednesday. I know it's July the 14th. I'm looking at my clock. It's 5:45 p.m. Central Time. I know where you do your podcast, so I can't 100% guarantee that you're at the church, but most likely you're at the church. So some of you who know me, and if you're listening to me live, you're like, yeah, I think you're telling the truth. But are you sure? Are you positive? Is there any reason to even believe anything is true in 2021? Or, let me think of it this way. Maybe you are listening live right now and you're like, well, you know, I know you say it's Wednesday, but I don't really believe it's Wednesday. It's not Wednesday for me. I know you say that it's July the 14th, but no, it's not my July the 14th. I know you say it's 5:46 p.m., or 5:45 p.m. or 5:44 p.m., but it's not my p.m. It's not my Wednesday. It's not my July. It's not my July the 14th. It's not my p.m. It's not mine. In other words, can truth and reality, is it actually something tangible and real? Or is truth and reality whatever you want it to be? So for you, it's not Wednesday. It could be Friday. For you, maybe it's September. Maybe for you, it's not 5:45 p.m. Maybe for you, you're going to say it's 3 a.m. Is truth whatever you want it to be? Is reality whatever you want it to be? Now, I know you're thinking, well, that's just ridiculous. That's just nonsense. It's just crazy. It's just insane. But is it really that crazy and insane in the world in which I think we are currently living? I mean, maybe you're not. Maybe you don't actually live in this world. Maybe you think you live on another planet. I mean, what is actually real anymore? What is actually true anymore? What is reality? What is truth? Now, I'm asking that question because a very, very, very famous person, in fact, a person who currently has, let me look here, 109 million followers on Instagram, all right? 109 million followers on Instagram. I want you to hear that again. 109 million followers on Instagram, okay? That's a lot of people. Well, this famous person seems to understand life and reality as, well, I can't use that pronoun, because they don't use that pronoun. I think they use the pronoun they or them. They and them feel like that they and them have their truth. And their truth may be different from my truth, but it's my responsibility to then go along with them and their and they I'm honestly trying to use their pronoun. I don't know. I don't remember exactly how they identify, but they don't identify as, a he or a she. It's a they or a them or their. I really honestly don't remember. I saw a video where someone was correcting them, and I don't remember it. I didn't even think about it. I was going to use the normal pronoun, and then all of a sudden realized, well, they don't use that pronoun. And honestly, listen, I want to make it very clear. I'm being a little facetious and joking around, but I'm not really joking around that much. Yeah, that you're like, come on. It's whatever day it is, it's that day. Whatever time it is, it's that time. Stop being foolish. I understand it appears to be foolish, but we live in a world where I think we have a full-blown attack on reality and truth. But here's the thing. This individual who has 109 million followers, I'm looking at the screen again to make sure I've got it correct. Yeah, and that's on Instagram, so I'm making sure I've got all my information correct. Does it matter if my information is correct? Does it matter? I mean, what, maybe if it's okay, yeah, you'll see where this is all going to go. But this individual believes that they have their truth. I'm trying to be very careful how I say this because I truly don't want to. Look, I have no desire to purposely try. Like if someone wants me to use a pronoun, to me, there's deeper issues than their pronoun choice. If they want me to use a certain pronoun, fine. I'll go along with that because there's deeper issues we need to talk about. All right. So yeah, fine. But so this individual wants me to accept their truth. I want you to listen to this carefully. They want me to accept their truth and they want me to do everything in my power to go along with their truth, to operate as if their truth is true for them, even if their truth goes against my truth. It's really weird. I don't know exactly how it's supposed to work. You have your truth, I have my truth, but which truth wins? Does your truth win or my truth win? And can each person have their own truth? Can each person have their own reality? It's a very confusing time. In fact, it's crazy to think we live in a world now where we don't really know what truth or reality actually is. Now, some people say, well, you're taking it too far. You'll see. All right, here's the story. Let me just give you the story, and this will all make sense, all right? This was published today, July the 14th, 2021, at 10:05 a.m. So I saw it this morning, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, wait, what? Okay. And then I started, and that's why I came across the video about this individual that I'm currently looking at. And this individual doesn't like the pronoun she. She doesn't like that they don't like the pronoun she. I think they want them or their, if I remember correctly. All right. So here we go. Demi-Lovato doesn't mind if you misgender them as long as you're making an effort. All right, so Demi Lovato doesn't mind if you misgender, it's not her, if you misgender them, as long as you're making an effort. It's a huge transition to change the pronouns I've used for myself my entire life. So she's acknowledging that it's very difficult to get used to using these new pronouns, right? Because you just get used to using, you refer to yourself as a she or a he, and all of a sudden now, because of a new reality, we have to change the pronouns. So not she, they or them understands that it's difficult for me, right? For here I am, if I was to meet this person, that it would be very difficult for me to not refer to this individual with a pronoun like she or her. I would have to and try to get used to saying they or them. All right, they or them. That even just sounds weird. I'm really trying here. Okay, and I know you think I'm trying to be facetious. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. I'm really just trying to explain how this works. I'm trying to operate within this dynamic to demonstrate what I'm referring to here. Okay, so they have it. They and them want me to use that pronoun, and they want me to use this pronoun. This is very important because this is a key word. Or I think they refer to it as my truth. You'll see how this plays out. Here's the story. Demi Lovato, and if you don't know, famous singer, understands that transitioning into using they, them pronoun is a learning curve for those who care about them. And Lovato even finds themselves, I'm trying to read this. Demi-Lovato, that's an individual, one individual, understands the transitioning into using they and them pronouns as a learning curve for those who care about them. For those who care about Demi-Lovato, his now is them. And Lovato even finds themselves using the wrong pronouns to identify too. In a recent Instagram post, Lovato says it's okay if you misgender them as long as you're making an effort. That's all that matters. All right? If you misgender me, that's okay, Lovato wrote in a July 13th post. I accidentally misgender myself sometimes. How can you misgender yourself? I'm really trying to, I'm not trying to be funny here. I'm not trying to be funny. I know people are going to misinterpret this, and I'm just saying, I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm really just, look, you have to understand how this sounds. I sometimes misgender myself. Now, I don't think there's ever been a time where I'm like, hey guys, I sometimes refer to myself as a he and I misgender. I mean, I guess, can you misgender yourself? Why would that? I think you would know your gender, right? But I guess if you're not used to, I guess once you become a they or a them, it may be difficult not to refer to yourself as a he or a she, or a he or like, okay. All right. But this is the world in which we live. And I'm trying to show you that when you go down this road, it's like, well, then what is true? What is reality? We'll continue. They continued. See, she did not continue. They continue. The they is Demi-Lovato. Demi-Lovato is a they. They continued. It's a huge transition to change the pronouns I've used for myself my entire life. And it's difficult to remember sometimes. As long as you keep trying to respect my truth, and as long as I remember my truth, the shift will come naturally. I'm just grateful for your effort in trying to remember what means so much to my healing process. Okay, now, obviously, and I mean this sincerely, you don't want to hurt someone. You don't want to stop someone's healing process. But there is a fundamental philosophical concept at work here that goes beyond all of the silliness of pronouns and, okay, which pronoun do you want? Okay, you want they and them. Okay, now I'm going to do my very best, but I guarantee you I'm probably going to misgender you about 50,000 times because when I look at you, it's going to be very hard. Looking at Demi Lovato, it's going to be very hard not to say, hey, did you hear her new album? Hey, did you hear they and them's new album? No, who they? Demi Lovato. No, who? You said they and them. Yeah, Demi Lovato. But who's the they? Was there someone else on the album? No, it's just her. Demi Lovato's album. But you said they and them because that's their they and them's. That's their and them's pronouns. Well, wait, what? Okay. Just trying to have a normal communication, normal conversation. You have to acknowledge it becomes pretty awkward and pretty weird. But here's the thing. So despite all of that difficulty, in spite of how easy it may be to mock that, I don't want to mock it, but there is a deep rooted issue here. The issue is they and them, Demi Lovato, is operating from this perspective. She has, I just said it. They and them has their and them's. Is that even correct? I don't even know how you say it. I'm honestly saying they have their truth. They refer to it as my truth. They have my truth. Now, they and them will not get upset as long as I'm trying to operate from that perspective. So if I try to operate from their perspective, they're cool. But if I don't try to operate from their perspective, then they're not cool. Then they're going to be upset. And then supposedly I'm doing great damage to their healing process. Well, I don't want to hurt anyone. No Christian should want to do anyone any harm. But I'm trying to sit there and wrap my mind around the concept. Okay, wait. So let me get this right. Your truth dominates my truth. Because if my truth sees you as a she and a her, and that's my truth, then why does my truth have to be subjected or submit to your truth? Why does your truth become the dominant truth and my truth is lessened? What if in my truth there are he's and she's? What if in my truth there are males and females, and they are going to be referred to as he or she? Why does my truth become subjected to your truth? So is this really, and I want you to really think about this, is this really, have we transitioned in this, talk about transitions, have we transitioned in this country where it's no longer relativism, right? Remember that was a dominant philosophy in our society. This episode was going to go in a different direction. It really was. But now I feel impressed to take this to its logical conclusion. I'm going to press this, right? So I know I'm being a little, I know you may think some of that's being absurd, but I'm really trying to press a point here, all right? So we're going to come back to this, all right? We're going to come back to this. We're not going to be able to get to it tonight. I have here an entire kind of Bible study that I've written out, but I'm going to close my notebook here, all right? Because we're going to press this. So I want you to think about this. I think we're in a transitioning phase here in the United States of America, right? Now, at one point, relativism was the dominant philosophy, right? Now, relativism would say, you have your truth, I have my truth. Therefore, you can be right, I can be right. None of us have to be wrong, right? Everyone has their own truth, and we all live according to our own truth. Now, that philosophy requires then for you not to cancel my truth, silence my truth, condemn my truth, yell at my truth, or say that my truth is closed-minded, bigoted, prejudiced, or anything else, because it's my truth. You have your truth, you have my truth, so let's all drink a Coke, sing Kumbaya, have a smile, and maybe order a Big Mac and some large fries and an apple pie, right? That sounds really good right now, okay? Maybe we do that, right? Because it's your truth, my truth. So there's no reason to argue. I don't have to convince you of, so if, and my truth, I'm a they and them. And your truth, I'm a she or a he, all right? Well, wonderful. You live your truth, I live my truth. I'm they and them. No, you're he, she. Okay, well, you got your truth, we got my truth. Our truths are differently, so everyone's good to go. But somehow relativism has transitioned into, no, I have my truth, and you may have your truth, but you must go along with my truth, even if my truth goes against your truth. Well, then wait a minute. All right, Demi, you want me to go with your truth and you're happy as long as but are you going to go with my truth? Are you going to follow my truth? My truth is different than your truth, so which truth do we have to operate in? You want me to operate according to your truth. What if I want you to operate according to my truth because it will help my healing process? What if I have a healing process? What if I need to be healed from all of the mass confusion and that I don't understand, that I can't even read now an article about you because now you have become they and them, and I look at you and I see a her, I see a she. What do we do with this? We are transitioning into a world where now truth becomes whatever you want it to be. But here's the kick that I want you to catch this. But now that truth becomes now obligatory for everyone else. Now, I want to if we just look up a definition of truth, right? I just grabbed a definition from a dictionary. Truth, that which is that is in accordance with fact or reality. That which is in accordance with fact or reality. Now, this idea, this definition is giving me, and this is not from a Bible dictionary, from just a normal dictionary. Look up truth. That which is in accordance with fact or reality. That means there is a fact and there is a reality. There is a fact and a reality, and truth is that which is in accordance with it. Well, guess what? I believe if we do a genetics test and a DNA test, we're going to know that demi-lovato is a she. She is a her. She is a female. That is fact. Now, I know what people say. Well, you're confusing biology with gender. Gender is something. I understand all of that, but there's got to be something to base fact on. factually, even if you say gender and biology is differently, biologically, they and them is a she. That's a fact. There's no way to get her, even if you want to separate the two, that's a fact. But I can't refer to you as a she. That's your biological truth. That is a fact and reality in accordance. That's truth in accordance with fact and reality. So I'm supposed to deny that biological because now the identity trumps the biological reality, the DNA genetic makeup reality. Now, again, how far do you take this? How far do you take this? Now, it's one thing. So I want you to just realize where we're at. Okay, so now if you transition from female to male, I'm to use the pronouns he and to refer to you as a male. All right. Now, again, I'm not one of these people who are going to yell and scream and say, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Because to me, that's a war. What am I going to win? You know, what am I going to win? They're never going to want to talk to me again. No, I'm not going to. No, I want to hopefully have a relationship, and then maybe at some point we can have some deeper conversations about truth, about reality, about God, about Scripture. Yeah, so I'm not there to, like, you got to choose your battles, right? Okay, that's your preferred pronoun? Okay, fine, all right? Oh, you want me to refer to you as a dog? Okay, fine, I don't care, right? There's deeper issues. Now, I know you're saying, but you're going along with their truth. I understand. I'm saying that you got to figure out where you're going to fight the battle. You're going to figure out where you're going to fight the battle. And I think sometimes we have to be as wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. And so I don't want to do harm to anyone. But what I want you to realize, there's a deeper issue here, and the deeper issue is truth and reality. So now this is where we've gone. Now we have a woman who's transitioned to a man, and I don't want me to refer to them as masculine pronouns, him, him, he, fine. But now that's not even acceptable. Now they may not want to be referred to as a him or a her. They may want to be referred to as a they, them, their, you, yours, all the different pronouns. I don't even know how many different pronouns now that are out there in a person. And so now I've got to figure out, I can't even use the normal pronoun. In other words, look, that person, whether they're going to look like a male or a female. And rarely do you see someone like, I don't have a clue what that is. Can you use that? There's got to be some way to identify. This is so like truth just no longer exists. Now, how far do we take this? Now, when you use it, and people say, well, you're being absurd when you say, well, hey, it's Friday. Not to me, it's Friday. Hey, I know this is going to sound absurd, but hey, you're supposed to be at work. It's Monday. Yeah, but it's not my Monday. My truth tells me it's Saturday. So I'm going to have a day off. No, you say, well, that's absurd. You don't want a doctor going, well, my truth is the way to fix cancer is to just tell you don't have cancer. No, there's so many areas where we want truth, and we want that which is in accordance to fact and reality, right? But then there's some areas where that those rules are being changed. Now it's your truth. So demi-lovato's truth is that they are them and a they, and as long as I try to respect their truth, then I'm okay. But again, where is the respect for the truth that goes the opposite way? There is an issue here. Let me read a little bit more from this article. All right. Here's on Sunday, July the 11th, Lovato, on Sunday, July the 11th, Lovato, the non-binary community, and their allies kicked off Non-Binary Awareness Week. Lovato celebrated by reposted a series of slides from a friend, Matt Bernstein. A lot more people would identify as non-binary if they understood what it meant. The first slide Bernstein's post read okay. Let me put this all together, right? Because I am really just trying to think this all through. I really am. So in quotations, a lot more people would identify as non-binary if they understood what it meant. The first slide of Bernstein's post read. The post further explains that the term non-binary encompasses a range of gender identities that aren't man or woman. So there's a range of identities, it's beyond just male and female. Now there's a range of identities, when Lovato announced that, when Lovato announced they'd, okay, all right, when Lovato announced they'd be using they, them pronouns earlier this year, they said via their 4D with Demi-Lovato podcast, I feel this best represents the fluidity I feel in my gender expression and allows me to feel most authentic and true to the person I both know I am and am still discovering. We're all trying out best, both allies and members of the non-binary community, and that's what truly counts. And just that sentence, when Lovato, one person, announced they'd be using they, them pronouns earlier this year, they said, I mean, I guess some of that works. Some of that just seems like, what? All right. And then it has Demi. Okay, here's the video I saw. Demi Lovato thanked Lizzo for correcting paparazzi who misgendered them. So Lizzo, another famous rapper in this particular case, won't get into a whole music discussion. I think she was getting ready to go in. She was going into some kind of, I don't know if it was a restaurant, a club. I don't know where she was going. And there were some people outside and there were some fans taking a selfie. She was really nice and cool, taking selfies with the fans. Really cool. She didn't come across like a rude person, which is awesome. And the paparazzis were talking to her about Demi. I think Lizzo, you can say her, was talking to Lizzo about Demi Lovato, and they said, "Hey, what do you when she did this or her?" And she's like, "No, they them. You're like, don't refer to Demi Lovato as a her, refer to her as they and them." So they would have to be like, when they are going to release their new album, what did they and them? I mean, it's like it was, and so the paparazzi was like first a little confused. Okay, sorry, thank you for correcting that. But so now, yeah, and here is the video. I got the video here. Demi goes by they. Lizzo corrects a paparazzi after they misgendered Demi. Now, so you misgendered Demi Lovato, a single person who's clearly female. I mean, biologically, that's true. That's in accordance with reality. There's no way to get around that. She's not gone through they and them have not gone through a transitioning process to transition as far as I'm aware of. So someone refers to Demi as he or as she or her, and like, no, you have to refer to Demi as they. So, but isn't it in accordance with reality that that they and them is still a female? I mean, it's not, but the whole thing is just crazy, but that's the world in which we live. Now, I want you to just realize this. All right? I know this is a lengthy discussion, but this is just important conversation here to have. All right. From a Christian perspective, I want you to realize you talk about, when Jesus is before Pilate, and it's like, what is truth? What is true? What is truth? We live in a world that it's not even what is truth. It's what is reality. But let me take it back. We live in a society that's different. It's not what is truth. We live in a society that says, here is my truth, and you better understand it, you better accept it, and then you better follow it because it is dogma. My truth now becomes your dogma. My truth now becomes the dogma by which you must operate from. So as Christians, we live in a world that says, as Christians, we live in a world that says that there is a God of truth, that truth is found with God. Like God is truth. So ultimately, truth is that which corresponds with God. God is the one who is true. God in the person, Jesus Christ, incarnate, makes the invisible God visible. He's incarnated, takes upon human flesh. And Jesus Christ now is, in a sense, he is the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus Christ puts into flesh truth. God is the God of truth, right? So you have God who's the God of truth, whom we cannot see, right? God is a spirit we cannot see. But the second person of the Trinity, God the Son, true God, right, takes upon human flesh and now puts truth in human flesh. And we can see that truth lived out in history in the pages of the Bible. And then we have the Word of truth, God's word, which is true. So we have the God of truth. Now, truth is such a theoretical concept, we cannot really say, okay, there's the God of truth. He is trustworthy. He is faithful. He is true. All right. He's, in a sense, the reality of truth. Now, Jesus Christ, second person of the Trinity, incarnates and puts truth in human flesh and lives it out. So now we see truth lived out in the life of someone who's true God and true man. All right. And so there's the incarnated truth. We have the God of truth. We have the incarnated truth. And then we have the word of truth, which is scripture, which then we are to follow, and it guides our understanding. So as Christians, we believe that there is truth. It is absolute. It is transcendent. It is found in God, in person, placed into flesh in Jesus Christ, and then put into the scriptures, which is the word of truth, which we are to follow. All right. So we believe in truth. But we believe that truth is not determined by us. We don't believe in my truth. We believe in God's truth. We believe in the truth. We don't believe in my truth because my truth is irrelevant. We believe in the truth. Now, when you live so as a Christian, we have this thing called truth, and we live in a culture that says, no. Now, truth is determined by the individual, but which goes back to the philosophy of relativism. But now it goes beyond it. It's not just truth goes beyond, truth is now my truth, but then my truth becomes somehow dogmatic upon everyone else. So it's really weird when you hear many in this generation speak, they will speak about that's my truth. That's my truth. Okay, fine. So am I wrong? Yeah. Well, wait a minute. So now your truth just became my truth. You just now are trying to remember that the culture got so upset that Christians tried to shove the truth of Christianity upon them, and they rejected it. You don't shove Christianity down my throat. You don't shove your morality down my throat. You don't shove your idea of wrong and right upon me. That's my life. I'm going to live it my way. Now society is flipped and like, no. I'm now going to shove my truth down your throat. And you're going to follow it, and you're going to accept it, and you're not going to speak against it, because if you do, we'll silence you, cancel you, and censor you. That's the transition. My truth has now become everyone else's truth, which is exactly what they used to condemn Christianity for. They're like, well, I don't believe the Bible. I don't follow. Why do I have to follow your morality? Now it's like, okay, well, I'm not a part of the non-binary community. I'm not part of the LGBTQ community. So why do I got to accept your definition of truth? Why do I got to accept your definition of reality? Why? That's a very important thing, because they always will draw a distinction between biology and gender, and saying gender is different than biology. Okay, I'm not even going to have that argument. But the biology is still true, right? Right? Because they always say that we're not, I've heard this, you're not scientific. You don't get it. You're dumb. If you had some intelligence, you would understand that there's a difference between biology and gender is how you identify. Okay, but wait a minute. All right, so gender is different. All right, so fine. You can have your own gender identity that differs from your biology. But if I reference you as a person and I reference you in relation to what is true in accordance with your biology, why would that be wrong? Because is there not still truth to that? Or does your identity trump the biology? You say, well, they'll say, well, it does. It's hurtful. Well, but it's still true. So does truth matter? Or does your truth trump the reality of your gender? Okay, let's not argue. You can tell me whatever gender you are. Fine, I'll use your pronoun. Great, wonderful. But can we do this? Can we go get a genetics test? Can we do a DNA test? Can I do a test and whatever that test says, if I refer to you as that, you can't get mad because it is true? You just because I identify as something, even if I believe that that's a real thing and that I can identify however I want, I still can't let's say, and I know people will say that this is ridiculous, but let's say I identify now as a dog. All right? Now, if I do a test, it's going to show that I'm a human, right? So I can try to force you. My truth is I'm a dog. You refer to me as a dog. You don't refer to me as a person. I'm a dog. Okay. You treat me like a dog. Okay. Do that, right? Okay. Now, I know, again, these are ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's hard to use illustrations that are not ridiculous because the whole subject seems so utterly absurd. We're literally arguing about your truth becomes my truth. So I'm like, but there is still, while you argue all day for your truth, there is still a truth. There is still a truth of genetic makeup of what of look at the chromosomes. You know, male, female. You know that. I mean, that's the way we do tests. Correct? Now, fine. If you want to play the game that you're not male nor female and you're just one of the countless gender identities that could be out there, and I don't even know what they all are. How many gender identities are there? Let me see. I think they classify them as innumerable. Let me make sure because I want to be accurate here. This is just crazy to wrap your mind around here. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go through this. All right. How many genders are there? Okay, this says 4 genders. Okay, medicine.net or medicine.net says 4 genders are masculine, feminine, neuter, and common. All right. This one goes to, here's a comprehensive gender identity list as defined by experts. Okay. Let me see here. Do we have the list? Okay. It tells me to, my, how can I say this? My physical parts does not equal gender, according to this. Forget about the 2 gender binary. Gender identity is on a continuum. Sexuality and gender identity are not the same. All right. Let's see here. So I have anatomical sex. All right. I'm looking at these. Anatomical sex. Okay, I'm sorry. Anatomical sex. Cisgender. Transgender. Non-binary. Genderqueer. Gender fluid. Gender non-confirming. Agender. Gender void. I think that's all that I have here. So we have an argument. On one site says there's 4 genders. Another site says there's more. Now this article, what are the different genders and 64 terms for identity? This has, I guess, who knows? Here's a list of 58 gender options for Facebook users. So is there 58? Is there 64? Is there 4? Is there 10? Is there 9? I don't know. So you can go through all the articles. I don't know how many there are. How many? So all I'm saying is, well, you can sit there and go through all of these identities. There's still something that's real. But the bottom line is your truth now, how far do we take this? It really comes down to this question. Is there truth? If you say, and here's your options. Here's your options. You ready? All right, here we go. There's no truth. Now, for you to say there's no truth, there's a problem because that would have to be true. So if you say there's no truth, there would have to be a truth. Okay? So there's no truth. Is that true? Yes. Well, then there's truth. All right. So that doesn't work. All right. So clearly then there would have to be something that's true. All right. Number 2. And there's lots of different things that you would say, no, it's true. It's Wednesday. It's true. It's 84 degrees outside. No, it's true that it's summer. There's certain things that everyone agrees that it's true. Okay. All right. So there's truth. So the no truth idea just doesn't even work. All right. Number 2. All right. Now, truth is determined by what? That which is in accordance with reality and fact. Then we have to determine what the reality and fact is, right? You could go with that. Are you willing to do that? It seems that we're not even willing to do that. Then if you say, so do we go with a normal definition of truth? Yes or no? Okay, let's say we throw that one out. All right, and then truth is my truth. In other words, truth is determined by the individual. Okay, if truth is determined by the individual, if you want to live in a world where truth is determined by the individual, then you have to allow for other people not to go along with your truth. Not like if you want to live in a world where everyone has their own truth, then don't force your truth on my truth, because my truth is just as important as your truth. Your truth doesn't trump my truth. My truth doesn't trump your truth. So you can identify as 75 different genders, and I don't follow that truth, then I don't have to identify you as one of those 75 genders, because guess what? We all have our truth. So if you're going to say my truth, my reality, well, then my truth and my reality is just as valid as your truth and reality. All right? I'm throwing pencils. Okay? So, or we have to say truth is defined by something outside of ourselves. Well, that gets into a theological discussion. So there is either no truth, that doesn't make any sense, or truth is that which corresponds with fact and reality. Now all we have to do is figure out what the reality and fact is. All right. Okay. Then you got to go with that. Right? And there's got to be some tangible proof to prove something is a fact and prove something is tangible. It can't just be a feeling. It can't just be something. It's got to be something tangible, something that can be clearly proven. Right. And so then then that gets into a whole host of questions. Or if you say my truth, the problem is many of the people who get into the whole argument about pronouns and gender are just in a number of social issues. You'll have people say, my truth, my truth, my truth, my truth. Because as soon as you challenge them, as soon as you start putting up a challenge, they're like, no, but that's my truth. That's my truth. Back off. Okay, fine. You're right. It's your truth. I'll back off. And guess what? You back off. You don't tell me that I have to go along with your truth, because that's your truth. It's not my truth. So we're going to have to live in a world where your truth and my truth does not agree. And I'm going to have to give allowance for your truth, and you're going to have to give allowance for my truth. Now, how far do we take that in a society because how far do you start changing what is true when it comes to whatever issue? Yeah, this is a very, I just look, when I read the article, I'm just sitting there going, what? My truth, my truth, my truth, my truth. Okay, and I've got my truth. So that's what it's just crazy. So there you have it. What I wanted to do, I was just going to, what my original goal, I know we're 41 minutes into this, my original goal was very simple. My original goal was like, hey, Demi-Lovato, Demi-Lovato, and I mean this, I'm not trying to be a jerk, okay? It's just really hard. I mean, Demi-Lovato has been referred to as a she and a her forever, okay? Demi-Lovato, they and them have their truth. And when I heard that they and them have what they refer to as my truth, I immediately started thinking, well, wait a minute, how does this all work in a world where other people have they and them and their truth? Or my or his and her truth, or she and her truth, however we want to word it. So I thought, okay, I would just kind of briefly mention this, and then I would get into it. And what I was going to do is I was going to talk about, we have the God of truth, we have the truth incarnated. It is insanity and total chaos. I was going to look at the God of truth in Psalm 31:5, the person of truth or truth incarnated, John chapter 14, verse 6, the source of truth, John 17:17. I was going to do that we are established in truth, 2 Peter 1, I believe it's verse 12. I can't read my own handwriting. Then I was going to talk about that we're sanctified by truth, John 17:7, and then, or maybe John 17:17. Yeah. And then we're protected by truth. And I think that was in Psalm, I can't remember. I think Psalm 91, I believe, is that we're protected by truth. But I was just going to go through all the different things the Bible says about truth. I was just going to go through all the things the Bible says about truth to contrast it and compare it with a world where truth and reality is just now something so chaotic and crazy. And we have to get back to this concept of truth. But let me say this again. I know that people, when things go on the internet, people are going to perceive it all kinds of different ways. Let me make it very clear. I have no problem calling someone who's transgender, who transitioned from female to male, referring to him as a him. I got no problem with that. I'm not going to get into an argument. There's line. There's a battles to fight, and there's battles that you don't fight. And you do want to show love, and you want to show respect, even to people you may disagree with, even people who you consider your enemy. You want to show love and respect, right? Because you want to build the ability to hopefully have important conversations. I've talked about this so many times. When I was in the United States military, one of my troops was clearly homosexual. It was obvious. Everyone knew. He was walking around the dorms dressed as female. And he was starting to get bullied and having all kinds of problems, and it was an ugly situation. But we were operating in the military at that time of don't ask, don't tell. As long as he didn't tell me, and I didn't ask him, then it was fine. He could do whatever he wants, and he was a great worker. And even though he knew we disagreed, he knew that I knew, but he didn't say and I didn't say. But we had conversations. Oh man, those late night shifts and medical records at Offutt Air Force Base. Hours of great conversations. I mean, we disagreed with so many things. We argued about everything. But I had built a close enough relationship. He would call me at my house and talk. He would talk about his struggles. He would talk about getting bullied, and I would try to offer comfort. And if he was depressed, we had a good relationship. And I had the ability to have very, very, very good, very direct conversations with the person. Now, if I would have just started acting the fool about some of those things, then I would have destroyed those ability to have those conversations and develop a friendship. There was a friendship there over time. Now, one night he contacted me and said, hey, I've got to tell you something. And I'm like, I knew what was coming. I'm like, hey, man, I'm going to give you an hour. If you still want to talk, I'll meet you at the hospital. He called me. We met at the hospital. He told me I'm gay, had to start the process within about 3 weeks. I think it was 3 weeks, 2 weeks. He was discharged from the United States military. I helped him get a job at a hospital in Seattle. He would call me. He used to call me a lot, about once a year, I think, maybe twice a year. I can't remember. And everything was great. Now, we still had disagreement over, I still believe homosexuality is a sin, but there's a time and place to have that fight. When it comes to people in their pronouns, I'm not there to fight a pronoun battle. I'm not there to we're going to fix the pronoun war in America. No, we need to fix the sin problem in America. We got to get back to the idea, does truth exist? We got to get back to, is there a such thing as reality? I got deeper issues than pronouns. So I got no problem trying to be respectful. So if I met Demi-Lovato and we were talking, I would do everything I could to not refer to, I think I've already messed up. I would do everything in my power not to refer to Demi as a her or a she, but to refer to Demi as a they and a them. I really, really would. I would try to be as respectful as I could. Now, hoping that at some point we could develop a close enough relationship that we could have some very, very deep conversations about truth, about reality. I would want to look at situations and say, what's the truth there? What's the truth? Well, what if, and I would want to have this conversation, what if someone else's truth is not your truth? How are those two truths to operate? Whose truth wins and whose truth loses? I would want to have those deeper conversations, not making the battle over a pronoun. And I know some Christians are like, well, no, but you're giving into their misunderstanding of reality. I understand that concern, but you got to think it through. Like, if you start fighting the pronoun war, that ends it. You're not going to have a chance for any deeper conversation. So there's a time and a place. Yeah, there's some situations I would fight the pronoun battle. Like right here, I'm fighting the pronoun battle because it doesn't make any sense. But if I'm dealing with a human being creating the image of God, I want to show love and compassion. And I want to be hopefully an opportunity to talk about deeper issues like, do you believe in truth? Do you believe in reality? You do? Okay. Well, whose truth? Whose reality? Now, they may believe in truth and reality in every other subject. They just reject it, or they believe that truth and reality has nothing to do with gender identity. They may believe gender identity is simply how you feel, and there is no great way to you can't test how if someone doesn't feel that way, that's the way they feel, and that's the way they should operate. Okay, great. But if I don't feel that way, then, right, you still have to ask those questions. So it's a crazy concept. I wish we could have gotten more into the scriptural part of it, but this is just, that article is just nuts to read. I'll give you you should just look it up and just read it. Probably people, there's people who are very good with grammar and pronouns. And they probably, that article will just drive them mad going, wait a minute. So it's one person, but they probably would go crazy. I guess you can find this. I found it was on Yahoo is how I found it, but it takes you to a site called hellogiggles.com. I'm not making it up because I guess you're going to laugh when you read it. They're not making fun of it, but Hello Giggles. Hello, you know how hello is spelled. Giggles, Giggles, hellogiggles.com. This is under the home celebrity area. Olivia Harvey is the author. And again, it says demi-lovato doesn't mind if you misgender them as long as you're making an effort. All right. And then you can read that. And it says demi-lovato understands that transitioning into using they, them pronouns is a learning curve for those who care about them. And Lovato even finds themselves using the wrong pronoun to identify too. All right. So, I'm not worried about, I want to make sure, I feel like I got to spend 12 hours trying to clarify everything. Well, you know what? Do I have to clarify anything? This is my truth. It's my truth. So I need you to work with my truth. I need you to try. I need you to put forth an effort to understand my truth, right? I mean, if that's good enough for Demi, it's good enough for me, right? If I've got to work with they and them to go along with their truth, then why don't you have to go along to try to work with my truth? My truth is this is not about Demi. This is not even about gender pronouns. This to me is about the deeper concept of truth and reality. That is what this is about. And if you have your truth, why does anyone else have to care, follow, or be concerned with it? Those are the deeper questions. All right, I'll stop right there. I'm going to head home. All right, because my dog has probably burned the house down, and I need food. So everyone have a great evening. Hopefully this afternoon has been somewhat beneficial. We didn't get to everything. We didn't get back to Joel, the book of Joel, and Acts chapter 2, but we'll have to do that later. And we didn't get back to the Imitation of Christ, Thomas Kempis, and about 900 other series we didn't get back to. But hopefully something said today will be beneficial. Thanks, Twyla, for all the listening and all the comments. And everyone else, email Twyla. Don't email me because my truth is that your emails don't exist. Okay, no. You can email me. I'm joking. newsif@yahoo.com. newsif@yahoo.com. Everyone have a great night. God bless.